sort of mid-level engineer that you have at your company?
An AI that can effectively be a mid-level engineer that can write code. When Mark Zuckerberg said that, it wasn't just a prediction. It was a gut punch to software engineers around the world. All those years of hard studying, was it all for nothing? Have software engineers coded ourselves into a corner? Have all those late nights debugging been leading up to this, our own replacement? Or could you double up and even advance your career by becoming a data analyst? Let's talk about the shift that's changing everything in tech. Organizations everywhere, from startups to governments, are desperately looking for people who can make data-driven decisions. Not just code, but analyze. Not just build, but interpret. And if you know how to think like a coder, you're already halfway there. But what does the job of a data analyst actually look like? It's not just spreadsheets and number crunching. It's about curiosity. You'll learn to ask better questions, track down the right data, and translate chaos into clarity. You'll master tools like SQL, R, Python, Excel, and Tableau, not just to show data, but to tell stories with it. You'll learn how to clean up messy data sets, build powerful dashboards, and influence real-world decisions. Most importantly, you'll start seeing how data flows through an organization, from raw inputs to polished insights that executives use to shape strategy. That's the data lifecycle. And once you understand it, you won't just be another coder. You'll be a translator between the code and the business. You'll also start leveling up soft skills, like communicating results clearly and managing expectations. That means fewer late-night debugging marathons and more high-leverage problem-solving with impact. So if you've ever wondered whether your software skills could open up more than just dev jobs, maybe this is your moment. Because when you pair coding with analysis, you don't just become more valuable, you become irreplaceable. You're not leaving tech, you're expanding your impact. So if that meta quote hit a little too close to home, maybe this is your signal. Ready to make the leap, or at least explore the map? Hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell to follow this series. We're diving deep into the real-world path from engineer to analyst, with everything you need to know to turn your skills into opportunity. Last time, we explored what it takes to think like a data analyst. Now it's time to act like one. You've got your first real challenge. A messy customer data set filled with duplicates, missing values, and inconsistencies. Classic. This isn't just cleanup, it's detective work. Step 1, data integrity. Are values complete? Do the formats make sense? Are there wild outliers waving red flags? You start with Excel to quickly scan, find, and fix errors. Out-of-range values, strange formatting, rogue typos. Then it's over to SQL for the heavy lifting. Validating, filtering, and confirming every row is legit. But it's not enough to just clean the data. You've got to explain what you did and why it matters. Along the way, you start spotting patterns. Structured data? That's your rows and columns. Unstructured? Think emails, videos, customer complaints. Knowing the difference tells you how to handle it. And here's the kicker. Numbers aren't always numeric, and dates can be sneaky little strings in disguise. You also dive into one of the most underrated and dangerous parts of analytics: bias. Selection bias, confirmation bias, survivorship bias. You learn how these invisible forces can sabotage your insights and how to catch them before they distort your results. You're pulling from open data portals, experimenting with real data sets, and learning the ethics that separate amateurs from pros. Because just because data exists doesn't mean you should use it. You start building solid habits, keeping data secure, organizing it clearly, protecting sensitive info, and documenting every step of your process. Not for show, for trust. You apply cleaning techniques across tools, Excel for quick wins, SQL for serious transformations. And you always double check, because in this game, credibility starts with cleanliness. You're not just studying analytics anymore, you're doing it. One row, one query, one insight at a time. And next, you'll learn how to visualize that data, how to turn information into impact and charts into calls to action. So hit like, subscribe, and get ready for part 3. You've got data. Let's make it speak. You've come a long way from staring at spreadsheets to managing real-world data sets. Now it's time for the final evolution: analysis and communication. This is where data becomes meaning. It starts with structure. You organize your data in spreadsheets and SQL tables so patterns can emerge. Format it right. and suddenly numbers begin to speak. You group rows, crunch calculations, and reveal what's hiding beneath the surface. It's not magic. It's logic, powered by functions, formulas, and well-structured queries. Real business questions land on your desk. Why are customers leaving? Where's revenue dipping? Is marketing actually working? You run the numbers, analyze the trends, and spot what matters. And you learn when to use each tool. Spreadsheets for speed, SQL for depth. But here's the truth. Numbers don't speak for themselves. That's your job. You dive into data visualization, bar charts, scatter plots, dashboards, tools that translate complexity into clarity. You learn the principles of design and the basics of Tableau, filters, color, layout. This isn't about making things pretty. It's about making things understandable. You begin crafting narratives, stories with a beginning, middle, and end, ones that earn trust, inspire action, and stick with the audience long after the meeting ends. You also learn a tough lesson. No data set is perfect, so you flag the gaps, the biases, the caveats, because real credibility comes from honesty, not just impressive graphs. Your presentation skills level up. You explain results clearly, anticipate hard questions, and focus on what decision makers actually care about. You don't just show charts, you tell stories. And then you take it further. You open up R. At first, it's just another programming language, but then you see the power. R was made for data. Inside R Studio, you start simple functions, variables, data types, and quickly unlock the real magic: pipes, vectors, and the tidyverse. It's like giving your workflow a turbo boost. Now you're cleaning, organizing, analyzing, and visualizing all in one place. You even document your process with R Markdown, building professional, clear reports with code and visuals all in one document. R isn't just a language, it's a superpower. And with every line, you're faster, sharper, and more valuable. So what's next? Check out our playlist to see how real people are using AI and tools like R to fast-track careers and boost income. Because you're just getting started, and the future is data-driven.